We begin our service with the reading from the book of Psalm Sefer Tehillim, Psalm 23, first in Hebrew, and then I'll ask for you to join in English with me. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai ro'i lo echzar, binotesh yarbitzeni, ame menuchot yinahaleni, nafshi yeshovev yancheni b'maglei tzedek leman shemo, gam ki elech b'getzal mavet lo irara ki ata imadi. Shiftecha umishantecha hema yanaka muni, taroch lefanai shochan neged sororai deshanta vashem enoshi kosi revaya, achtov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chaya, v'shafti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. Please join me in English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We gather here this afternoon with abiding love to send off with great tribute and affection our beloved Roger Benjamin, a beloved son, brother, husband, father, stepfather, grandfather, uncle, and dear friend. Our Bible teaches in the book of Ecclesiastes, L'kol zaman ve'et l'chal chefetz tachat hashamayim. There's a season set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for planting and a time for reaping, a time for keeping and a time for discarding, a time for loving, a time for hating, a time for embracing, a time for refraining, a time for laughing and a time for weeping, a time for dancing and a time for wailing, a time for birthing and a time for dying, a time for speaking, a time for silence, a time for seeking, and a time for losing. The rabbis often compare our lives and look at our lives, and they ask this question: should the day of our death be a celebration? Should it be more of a celebration than, in fact, even our birth? And they compare our lives to that of a ship. If you've ever taken a long journey on a cruise ship, oftentimes the ship leaves the harbor with much fanfare. There are bands playing, parades, celebration. Everyone is happy and joyous. But then the rabbis say, should this be so? Because no one knows what will happen on the path of that ship, what seas and storms, obstacles, challenges lay in its path. But the rabbis say that when a ship returns home, oftentimes not much fanfare, maybe just the porters are there to unload the cargo or the luggage, no bands, no parades. The rabbis say that is the time that there should be celebration, for a ship has returned home safely in peace. And they say it is the same for us, that the day of our death could be better than the day of our birth because we have returned home in peace. Roger has departed from this world at the age of 91. He has returned home with a good name, in peace. Roger has left behind many in mourning: his beloved wife, Linda, his children, Bobby and James, stepchildren, Lisa, Cindy and Michael, Laura and Josh, Jennifer and Art, Mary Jane and Joel, and his 13 grandchildren, the apples of his eye: Anthony, Veronica, Aaron, Jacob, Joseph, Ellie, and Sam, Simon and Julian, Gabe, Andrew, Matthew, and Ava, his brother Tom and Anne, adoring nieces and nephews, and so many devoted friends, both here in Cleveland as well as in Palm Beach. Roger now joins his parents of blessed memory, Dorothy and Alfred, stepmother Agnes, his brothers Alfred Jr. and Bruce. He joins them all in their eternal home in heaven. Loving and warm, elegant in all his ways, Roger was genuine and trusting, a man with no pretenses. The rabbis ask, Ezehu Ashir, who is a wealthy person? The rabbis answer, Hasomech bechelko, one who was happy with his portion. Roger definitely was always happy with his portion, a man who lived content. With his wry sense of humor, his generous and charitable spirit, Roger was quite handsome on the outside and the inside. His face, his smile, his tone, he was a beautiful person, a beautiful soul, a gute neshama. Roger loved to eat. He loved his scotch on the rocks in a crystal snifter with a twist. He was a man of routine. He may have taken a circuitous path to build this big, beautiful family that's filled with love, filled with his spirit, filled with his warmth and generosity. And I know he was grateful for his role as father and grandfather, as mentor and confidant, business advisor, and great friend. For Roger, there was nothing more important than family. His sons, Bobby and James, shared these thoughts with me, and I'll share a direct quote from a few of their words. Quote, Dad was always there for you, taking your problems as his own. For instance, he'd call you back not long after speaking as he thought of something else to say that could help. He was the common rational influence in our lives as he was for many others. As the years went by and the family accumulated to 8 children and 13 grandchildren, this didn't change. He was there for all of us. He accepted a new addition as his own, as if they were a blood relative. He always treated everyone with kindness, respected difference, accepted you for who you were, and believed in your abilities and enthusiasms. Widely admired in his field as a pioneer in shopping center real estate, he was also a role model to many who trained with and are in gratitude to him. I think the people that worked with him became a kind of family as well. In a rat race profession, he stood out for his integrity. Many of those he trained went on to start their own companies. Dad had a heart of gold. He was an extraordinarily decent human being. The man we knew was a leader but never arrogant, a mentor, honest to the core, willing to share credit and the fruits of his labor, to pick up and to correct others' mistakes. He believed the best about people. You didn't want to let him down because you knew he would never let you down. Beautiful. Born in New York City, in his youth, Roger was expected to wear tucks and tails to dinners with his grandparents. At age 13, he was a student at Viola Wolf's dancing school and an invitee for the cotillion circuit. His grandfather had a men's clothing business, but when the market crashed, he remade himself as a fundraiser for the Jewish community. Roger's mother, Dorothy, died when he was just 10 years old. His father remarried and became a stockbroker for the Rothschilds. It wasn't an easy childhood for Roger. He had polio, and one leg was always shorter than the other. He learned over the years to use it, though, to his advantage. He became a great swimmer and even coached swimming in college. He played a good golf game still with that deficiency, belonged to the clubs here, Beachmont, Oakwood, Mayfield, and then back to Beachmont. He was also a great tennis player. Growing up, the family moved to Scarsdale when Roger approached the teenage years. He went to Camp Andrew Scogan for summers, and despite his polio, was awarded the best camper of the summer. In Scarsdale, it was a posh life for Roger, yet when he was accepted into Williams College, his father and stepmother and their lavish lifestyle left no money for him to go to university. He delayed his matriculation, worked for some time until he could afford to put himself through college. While a student, he still worked multiple jobs, working in a pencil factory, working as a waiter at a fraternity. He did graduate with his degree. Roger began working in the schmata business, a traveling linen salesman, where he met his first wife, Jill. Roger had an incredible work ethic, a hard worker with an impeccable reputation. He loved working. He got his start in Cleveland when the family moved here, as Roger joined his uncle by marriage, Morris Houseman's real estate company. Roger was working in leasing and got his big break when Forest City, which didn't at that point have its own leasing division, hired Houseman Company, and Roger oversaw the leasing of the mile-long shopping strip, Southgate, USA. At the time, Uncle Morris didn't necessarily see the value in suburban shopping malls and told Roger that it was a waste of time. No one would schlep out that far to shop. Roger, along with his partners, took on the task and led to his future as a leading shopping center developer and leaser. Roger later became the president of Houseman and Company and never stopped learning all of his years. His son Bobby worked for him for many years and has made a name for himself in leasing and shopping centers. Working out of Legacy Village just across from Roger and Linda's home, Bobby would often stop over after work to share business stories or seek advice from Dad. James loved his father deeply and visited often when they were in Florida, but he's devoted so much time in the last several years caring for his ailing mother in France. James was still a constant presence and a strength for Roger all these years. Roger loved all of his children and grandchildren. He was known as Benji Puns. He considered all the children as his own. He raised Jennifer and Mary Jane from their early teens, welcomed Linda's children even later into his heart. The grandchildren just loved being with Roger. And one example is that his grandson Sam spent all last summer driving him from appointment to appointment, spending precious time together. Linda, you shared your incredible love and devotion to Roger for these past 15 wonderful years. As you told me, quote, I came in late into this picture, but we both took a leap of faith. He told me he could give me 10 years. I told him I'll take what I can get because I loved him. And Linda, you shared 15 wonderful years together. You've known each other for more than 30 years prior as friends. That first date at Johnny's downtown was the start of something special. When we sat down to meet to plan for this service today, you literally wrote an entire notebook of thoughts, memories, anecdotes, filled with love and kindness, and I know that was just the start. Stories of friendship and romance, oozing with the incredible connection that you shared. And you told me this quote, we were both married each more than a few times, but we knew that this would be our last, because Roger loved me like no other. Every day he showed me with a glance, with an upturn of a lip, the feeling of his hand on my arm, or just how he held me. He was there for me whether I was cooking, dancing, or singing. You planned a wedding together in 3 weeks. Roger proposed at your father's 90th birthday party, and you were married 3 weeks later at the Ritz-Carlton just before Simon's bar mitzvah. You traveled the world together, most especially Israel. Roger said he loved Tel Aviv more than Paris and wanted so much to live in Jerusalem. He even looked at places in the German colony, but he said the prices were too high for him. Linda, you helped reignite his Jewish passion, his pride that he was a direct descendant from famous Judah Benjamin. You two loved to cook together and to dance together. When Linda had her back surgery, Roger nursed you. He cooked every night for you for several months and lovingly cared for you. In these past several years, with his onset of Alzheimer's and dementia and declining health, Linda, you became his primary caregiver, always by his side. You made a promise that you would keep him home, that you would care for him. It gave your life purpose, and you didn't want to live without him. With your amazing team, with Maria Karetka, who's been with you for the last 15 years, always with both of your best interests at heart, with Maria Teresa Reyes and Juan providing 24-hour care, and their children who became like grandchildren to you and Roger, with the additional help of caregivers Peggy, Myra, Jasmine, and Yolanda, thankfully recommended by cousin Terry Goldberg, joined in very much part by all the children and the grandchildren. You were all there to care for Roger. Today we can truly say that he's no longer suffering. He's at peace. He'll be missed by family and friends. Like the ship that has returned to the harbor, we can truly rejoice in his good name, in his love, his spirit, his smile, and his life. Yehi zichrono baruch. May his name always be for a blessing. And we say, Amen. We'll rise now for the memorial prayer. El malei rachamim, shochem bamromim, hametzei menucha nechona tachat kanvei hashchina, b'malot kedoshim adorim, kezora kiamasirim, et nishmat Rafael ben Avram udvora, shalach lolamo v'gan eden menuchato, Anna barachamim, asira b'stetek nefakali olamim, Utzra b'trochai men nishmato, Adonai unachalato, v'yanok b'shalom mishkavo, v'namar, Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Raphael, Roger Benjamin, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May he merit the reward for living a life of righteousness and kindness. May he rest in peace, and we all say, Amen. Please be seated. Interment will follow this ceremony at Beit Olam Cemetery in Beechwood, at the corner of Chagrin and Richmond. Family will then receive friends following services today and interment today at Beachmont Country Club, 29600 Chagrin Boulevard in Orange, until 7 p.m. Shiva will resume on Saturday night at the home, 5200 Three Villages Lane, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, Saturday through Tuesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Friends who wish may contribute to the Joseph and Florence Mandel Jewish Day School.